Welcome back, everyone. I'm Dr. Darryl Wolf, and this is DocStar TV, and we call this Real People, Real Healing, and we bring on people that have certain conditions, and then we make the greatest attempt to support them and try to create a perfect day. Now, what we all need to understand is this, is that if you could create a perfect day from the moment you rise until you close your eyes and repeat that, and it were to be based on emotional and physical health, then you would have the life that you want. That's it. So the reality is that what we've all been taught is this. Go and do a whole bunch of things to get yourself well, and then go back to your old program. If you go back to your old program on an emotional and physical level, you will get your old disease, but it'll be worse. Because once you get rid of a disease, dis-ease, out of harmony, out of balance, once you get rid of a disease and then you go back to your old way, guess what? It will come back twice as fast, and it will take 3 to 4 times longer to get rid of the next time. Until every time that you bring it back, and understand this. Okay, today we're going to be talking about gum disease and tooth decay, or your teeth crumbling because you're sucking the calcium out of them. We'll talk about that. But the reality is this. There is not one disease, one condition that isn't triggered, okay, in the subconscious, okay? And the captain is the conscious mind. And if the captain is asleep at the wheel, then you're going to keep on running into what? Into the rocks, okay? So the reality is, if you don't change your personality, you don't change your reality. That's the reality. So the reality is that we must think different, eat different, drink different, be different. Try to do that when you've got a family. Try to do that when you've been forever in a day. You'll eat a certain food because it'll remind you of something that you used to do, or it'll remind you of mom or dad or get-togethers. And remember something, most of the food that we ate with get-togethers are killing us. So isn't that something? So what we have to do is we have to be awake enough to understand it. So when we create a perfect day and do a perfect day consultation for someone, we make it really clear that this perfect day consultation is a perfect day. And that we understand it's going to be very hard to make those changes. But you have to understand, the more chronic the problem is, the deeper the hole. You know, I could give you a 5-foot ladder. If you climb it 4 times, right? Does that mean you'll get out of a 20-foot hole? No, you have to give them a 20-foot ladder. And then as you get out of the hole, you won't have to be as intense. But at the beginning, we'll start off gradual, but then we'll go and we'll do front-end loading. Why? Because guess what? We know that with every illness, there's a mineral deficiency. Because without minerals, vitamins, and enzymes, nothing works properly. So we have to take a look at the person. But when a person comes to you, or a patient comes to you, you need to take a look at, well, okay, their personality first, because that's their reality. So the condition, okay, that they're in here, in between here, is more important than the condition in here. So if you don't want to get that, you'll never be a great therapist. Not that you are able to sit down and talk about their emotions with them right off the bat, because the subconscious will block you from talking about their emotional health. And why is that? Because the subconscious will protect any prominent dominant belief and will not let another one in unless the captain of the ship, otherwise your conscious mind, is wanting something new, and it really works on it and really is passionate about it, and it keeps on working on it. You know, okay, that's the old me. This is the new me. That's the old me. This is the new me. You keep on clicking that love band, putting a slight smile on your face. And you know what? You have a choice here, okay? Okay, so most people are insanely miserable, yes or no? So you have to be insanely happy. So people are going to look at you with that smile on your face, and you're repeating things and doing things you never did before. They're going to think you're cracking up, and that's the truth. They're going to worry about you. And then what happens in all families when you actually even lose weight on an emotional and physical level? Everybody says you have cancer. Isn't that nice that everybody could be so programmed? You're actually looking better and feeling better, but because you dropped all that inflammation and all that swelling, okay, all of a sudden you're dying of cancer. Because guess what? How many people know this? Are you ready for this? 86% of the population is drastically overweight. 60% of the population is obese. Obesity meaning 40 pounds or more. And obesity used to be 10 pounds. Now, I know we're going to get off topic here and go back to this, but I'm just trying to tell you something. What is normal is abnormal. So what you think is normal today is abnormal. And everybody has the same bug. So I just have this one thing that I always do. Do nothing the majority does. Absolutely nothing. Because if it wasn't for the grace of God, they wouldn't be alive. Hi, Thora.
Hi, Daryl.
Okay, Sarah, how you doing?
Hi, good, thank you, Daryl.
Okay, who would like to give me an overview? Sarah, how much do you weigh?
68 kilos.
So what's that, 160 pounds? Can somebody just ask Siri on their phone, please? 2.25 pounds per kilo. What? No, it's more than that. Yes, I am positive. 68 kilos is going to be probably around 145. How tall are you?
178 centimeters.
Okay. How much is 107? What?
She's a giant.
5'11" and a half.
5'11" and a half. Okay, thank you. Okay. All right. And what's your age?
36.
Okay, thank you. Okay, how many children have you had?
3.
How complicated was the pregnancies?
They were all smooth.
Okay. But just know this, that if we're having teeth problems and we're losing the calcium out of our teeth, then if they're all smooth, then we don't realize it, but we must be a terrorist to ourselves. Okay?
Yeah.
Or
give.
What?
Maybe giving all to my children. Is that right?
Well, you're very fearful and you have total anxiety going on all the time because you're so worried that you're not a good enough mother and that their life is in danger. And if you're not on your toes and on guard continually, then you're not a good mother, and that's why you're losing. That's why you have the teeth problem. Just know that. There's no other reason, unless you're a sugar alcoholic junkie. Are you?
No, that makes sense though.
Do you drink alcohol?
Occasionally.
Okay. So if you've got teeth problem, you want to make sure that you structure it. You want to ensure that you put a little bit of black diamond in it, and guess what? It's not going to tear you apart, and it's going to enhance the flavor. Did you know that? So don't worry, we didn't ruin your alcohol. And the other thing is this. What was I going to say? I had a brain fart. Give me a second. Let's go through your diet.
Okay.
Yep. All right.
Okay, so I try and do intermittent fasting.
So she tries to do it. So it's a hit and miss.
Yes.
So guess what? What we have is we have a beautiful woman that has devoted herself to her children and who's living a miserable life. You can't devote yourself to your children this much. You know, the reality is this. If you don't come first and foremost, there's nothing else. There's nothing left of you. You know, believe it or not, you can totally love and care for yourself, and your children are going to get all they get. So she's actually crippling her children. Because if she was having her 3 children do everything that they can do for themselves, she wouldn't be in this condition. So she was taught that she was unworthy as a woman, and so she doesn't know she's running the program, so she's still unworthy as a woman. And she'll be unworthy for the rest of her life until she's an empty shell.
This probably runs in my family because my mum and her mum got breast cancer, so that's...
What breast did they get it on?
my mother got it on both. She initially got it in her left and then her right.
Okay, so left would be her childhood or her children stressing out, and then her right would be not having enough support from her partner. How's that? Just know it's true. Go into the emotional chemistry of cancer, disease, and healing and watch the masterclass in my library, and you'll understand and you'll see the greatest study, biggest study that was ever done on cancer on the planet. If you haven't watched that at least 3 times as a practitioner, then you don't know what you're doing. And understand, once you do this, you're going to find out that you'll be able to tell your patient, your client, a lot about themselves, and they'll just be mesmerized. They'll think you're like a genius. Okay? So let's go through your day right now, and let's go through your day, what you do from the minute you rise until you close your eyes. Well, but before we do that, I want you to give me what surgeries have you had and what medications have you been on, okay?
Okay, I have had my tonsils out.
Okay, right off the bat, just know this. Whenever you have your tonsils are sore or inflamed, that's because your cecum is backed up, okay? All right? And what it is that's the doorbell to tell you and to try to stop you from swallowing more food until you clean out your bowel. And that's all that is. They screwed us. I got my tonsils cut out, and you do know that there are a lot of schools in Europe that if you have your tonsils cut out, you are not allowed in that school because your mentality goes much lower because you don't have a guard dog and you make lymphocytes, phagocytes, and it protects you here, okay, from infection getting in. So once you cut this out, you can look at all kinds of throat problems, all kinds of lung problems, immune deficiency problems, and just like how they tell us the tonsils are useless, and so is the appendix. The tonsils and the appendix, which is at the cecum, they actually talk together and communicate. Oh yeah, really? Okay, thank you very much, Chop Shop. Okay, so just know this: you'll get those people who haven't got their tonsils out, they get less sore throats when they're older. And the only reason why you get sore throats when you're younger is because her parents gave her too much dairy. Dairy's the main cause. Cheese, yogurt, milk, cow stuff. Okay, the molecule is 20 times larger than mother's milk. And since we no longer make the enzymes to digest mother's milk after 7 to 10 days, we're not supposed to drink milk ever again unless it was coconut milk, almond milk, seed milk, things of that nature. Oat milk's really nice to make, but we're not supposed to have mammal milk. And because cows have 4 stomachs, we can't break it down. And that's why you'll find a lot of children will have juvenile diabetes because their families shove dairy into them. And a baby can get juvenile diabetes even in the womb from the mother eating dairy. We'll explain. I'll go into it in detail later. Okay, so let's talk about your day. So you usually get up in the morning, and what do you eat, drink, and do throughout the day?
Okay, so I base my diet around a plant-based diet. I drink Kangen water, so I try and start off with a litre of water and then do some exercise. So I do weight-based exercise 2 to 3 times a week, and then
weight-based exercise is not what you do first thing in the morning. First thing in the morning, what you do is lengthen, strengthen, detox, and tone. That's what you do. You don't do that. You don't put yourself into contractual exercises. You want to open yourself up, not shut yourself in. Lock yourself up. You don't want to do that. If you go take a look at the pelvic squats and the crab stretch, I promise you, if you do those like you're supposed to, you'll get a lot more out of it. Believe it or not, I do no weight-bearing exercise except for my body weight, okay? And I'm in great shape. So That's it. I am my gym, and every exercise I almost do, I'm actually toning, strengthening, and detoxifying at the same time. And I guarantee you that she's contracting, and creating a lot more acid so that she can eat her teeth apart.
And then going back, I actually do tongue scraping and brush my teeth, oil pull.
1 second.
But not really.
1 second. You will never have to do tongue scraping again. Once you've got on a perfect day diet and you've done the advanced water fast a few times, you'll never need to scrape your tongue again. Anybody who needs to scrape their tongue, that is coated of mucus and fungus, okay? That person has not learned how to clean themselves properly, okay? Internally. Okay?
Yep.
Oil pulling is actually exhausting, and you can work hard on it until the cows come home. What I'd prefer everybody does here is take silver bullet gel, anywhere from a teaspoon to a tablespoon, put a couple drops of healthy mouth or frankincense on it, okay, and a couple drops of C60, and then I want you to swish your mouth, and you can put a little bit of black diamond on it as well. Swish your mouth with that, and guess what? Unbelievable. There's nothing that's going to touch it. Okay? Do the oil pulling till the cows come home if you want. All right? Because see, the black diamond, if you put that on there, or if you want to use the best thing for your mouth and for gum disease, what you do is you put the silver bullet gel on first, then you put either the healthy mouth and then the frankincense, and then you just put black gold on your toothbrush and a fair bit on top of it, and you do your teeth, and you do that 3 times a day, and guess what? I've never seen anybody with gum disease that it wasn't turned around very quickly. Okay? Bleeding gums, gum disease, the whole thing. And the gum disease is actually bum disease. So you need to know that. So she's got gum disease because she's got bowel problems. And she's unwilling to let go. And we know that already. She's unwilling to let go of her girls or her children, the 3 children she has. Let go and allow them to do everything they possibly can for themselves. Because she needs to be needed so bad. Because she's never learned how to love herself, and that's not her fault. How are we doing, Sarah?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Okay.
My gums don't bleed when I floss.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I didn't say they do.
Okay.
I was letting everybody know that with bleeding gums, I have people that have their gums have been bleeding for 10, 20 years. And after 7 to 10 days, they don't bleed anymore. That's it, right? Because the disinfecting, right? Okay.
Yeah. So I have been using the Detox 3 times a day.
When you have a severe problem with your teeth, you want to do Merigen twice a day and Detox twice a day. That for the extra money you'll spend, it'll turn it around faster. And when you're doing that, you want to clap. So you want to get a clapper. Do we have a clapper here? You want to clap. So what I would suggest you do is to clap for about 10 to 15 minutes on your jaw. If you clap your jaw for 10 to 15 minutes every day, guess what? Does everybody know that clapping the jaw releases more stem cells in that part of the body than anywhere else just by clapping? Clapping releases it. Clapping releases stem cells because the clapping increases circulation, and that causes stem cells to be created, and those stem cells are going to create new bone and help to rebuild her teeth. Okay? All right?
I do feel like I clench my jaw a lot. Like I wake up and I've been clenching.
Yeah. So the clenching of the jaw is suppressed anger and parasites. Okay? All right? Okay? And believe it or not, the anger is not something that she walks around angry at everyone. It's actually the love that she doesn't give herself. That's usually the case. So when I get there, if she ends up coming to the Australia course, or if I go there, or it would take me 5 to 10 minutes to unleash anger all the way back to her childhood, right here. Okay? And this here area is called the FU point. And that's where in our life it's like, you made me so mad! I just want my life back. So it goes right in here. All right? So every part of the body holds emotion. And that's why it's issues in the tissues. And that's why somebody can tell me any dis-ease they have out of harmony, out of alignment, and I can tell them what their personality's like. And it's not like it's rocket science. You'll all learn it. It's all in your manuals, every one of you. And everybody who gets a consultation from us gets a manual that tells them exactly their personality creates their reality, or otherwise their dis-ease, right? Okay? Keep going, Sarah. You're doing a great job.
So for lunch, I will make myself a salad, and it will have spinach.
Oh, wait a minute. Whoa, 1 second. So let's back it up. So in the morning, How much have you drank, and what did you drink? Kangen water. And how much did you drink?
Yeah, is there a problem with Kangen water?
There's no problem.
Confused.
I would use a structure unit and structure it too. Now you've got the best water in the world. Okay? Kangen water ionizes the water. It puts lots of hydrogen into it, but it doesn't structure it. Nothing electrical can structure water. It has to be done naturally. It's called no action. Okay? All right? But you don't have to do it. Do whatever you want. This is not me trying to make a sale here. But I would structure it. I'd get a structure. It never wears down, never breaks down. And I would also put black diamond into it. I mean, gosh, if you're losing your teeth and you've got gum disease, then you know that you need to do black diamond. You need to do black gold. I mean, because you need to suck up all that acid. And you're lacking in minerals. We know that. Lacking in minerals and too acidic. There you go. There's your answer.
Yeah.
And the acidic is actually comes from here. Comes from in between your ears.
Oh, yes. Yeah, my brain doesn't stop
Yeah,
thinking,
I know.
and it's
Yeah.
no good.
How's your relationship with your children? And then tell me how your relationship is with your partner.
With my children, I do a lot for them. Like, I carry my 1-year-old around a lot because he annoys the 3-year-old and 5-year-old. I've got 3 boys.
So guess what she just did? She just spoiled the 1-year-old, and it will never grow up, and it'll have all its relationships for the rest of its life are going to be dysfunctional. And we can talk to her in 10 years and find out that I'm right. So if she doesn't drop that child and let that child walk on its own, okay, and find its own power, okay, she has totally spoiled him and spoiled him rotten, and he's going to have rotten relationships. Yeah. He's going to have terrible relationships.
I can see that happening. It's just the easier thing to do sometimes, so I just need to stop that.
Oh, that's right. No, it's not. It's not the easier thing to do. It's just that every morning when you wake up, you get a ladder. You climb up the ladder. You get the nails, and you nail yourself to the cross, because that's what a mother like you should do. And you'll never be good enough. So just know that. You'll never do enough. And the reality is your kids are going to be pissed off at you because you never gave them their sovereignty. But go ahead and do whatever you want, because they're yours, but they're not.
Yeah, and my oldest child, he's really sensitive, and I worry about him all the time. And
well, he's sensitive because guess what? You cater to the younger ones, and the older one is not getting the attention anymore, and he feels left out. Yeah. Wow, I wish I would have been last, because then I would be carried around by mom, and maybe I could still be on the nipple. You know, the reality is you're very poisonous to your family.
Yeah.
Yeah, and God love you, but the reality is that every mother is programmed that she'll never be enough, and that she needs to suffer for her husband or her partner and the children more than they suffer. And you're not a good woman if you don't suffer, okay? And understand that, you know. Yeah, and that's really, really sickening. No wonder your teeth are rotting out. Okay, so your teeth should be rotting out, and you should have gum disease. Because why? I said gum disease is caused by bum disease, and it's the unwilling to let go. She has bowel problems. She can tell me she doesn't. But she's unwilling to let go of the kids. She's unwilling to let go of old beliefs. She's unwilling to let go. So she is going to be in big trouble. By the time the kids grow up and leave, she will be a shell with holes.
And then my middle boy, he's got a lot of, what would you call it? Sass or,
Sass.
yeah.
Well, guess what? I was the middle boy. Like that doesn't show? And let me tell you, my younger brother was the baby. Okay, and guess what? He was the baby all his life. He never stopped whining. Okay? And my older brother, okay, all right, he just had to do everything right, Marcel, right? And it takes him forever, right? You know what? By the time I was 8 years old, where I lived, I was known as the wild one. Okay? Right? I'd take my BB gun and then I would just shoot out windows. Right? Oh yeah. You know, I remember this one time, it was Halloween and I was like around 12 years old and I got everybody, because there was outhouses back then. And this guy who lived across the street, this old man, you know, didn't really care for it, was really grumpy. He was in there, we waited till he went into the crapper and we tipped it over. All right. Then, we took tires another time and we put tires on the roadway at Halloween and we put gasoline. We started them on fire and it melted the whole tar pavement. Another time what we did was we put ketchup all over ourselves, and we all were mangled on the street with our bikes. Oh, we scared the shit out of everybody in town. Yeah. I could keep going if you wanted. So the reality is this: I wouldn't be teaching this class. Okay, I learned that I had to be a rebel. I had to be my own lover. I had to be my own friend, right? And then the reality is, my father was a born again Christian pastor carpenter. Who's that sound like? Anyways, so the reality was, he said I was going to hell, so I figured I was going to go on fire, baby. You know, if I'm going. I'm going to have lots of fun. And you ask my brother Marcel should be here in a few minutes because he's going to come here and help some of you guys out today. And guess what? I say, Marcel, when it came time for supper and for bed, where was Daryl? So Marcel, being the oldest, he was always having to run and look for me. And I was always hiding. I got to tell one more story. So anyways, so we had horses all the time and we had a buggy, you know, those racing buggies? Okay. So they had put these tiles in the baseball field. Okay. So tiles under the ground. So there was like every 4 or 5 feet, there would be like a row of dirt from digging them up. Right. And it was like a long field. And I would get the horse and I'd go, hee-haw, as fast as I could. And that buggy would fly about maybe 2 feet up in the air. It was, and then, well, of course, on the way home, it was like this. The wheels were bent. My father chased me for probably, it felt like forever, because he always liked to put his boot up my hole. And he couldn't get it this time, because I got this. But I didn't come home till late that night. Anyways, and yeah. So see what you're doing to the middle one? Sarah.
Oh, wow, it turns out all right. Being a rebel.
Well, there's hope. Okay, so anyways, yeah. So this is what you're doing. Okay? The small one will be a baby. Nobody will want to deal with him. The small one will be having temper tantrums all their life. The older one will never get it right. They'll want to be perfect, so they'll never get the job done. They'll never be successful. And the middle one might end up in jail. I'm just telling you the story.
Okay.
Okay?
So...
I got to tell you one more story. So anyways, when I was like 17 years old, I was living in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and my mother was an alcoholic. My father had already left, okay? Yeah, Roman Catholic, born-again Christian. You should know that's not going to work. So anyways, so we were really poor. We lived in Halifax in the poor side of town, and I mean poor side of town. I mean, in the morning, we'd have to shoo the mice away from the cereal. I'm serious. I'm not making this up. Anyway, so every day after soccer, I would go down with my duffel bag and I would go down to Woolco. Remember Woolco? Yeah. And I would steal. I would steal food and steal clothing and steal stuff. And the reality was, my mother would give me money because I'd say, there's this kid and he will steal whatever you want. It was me. So anyways, just before Christmas, I stole an iron. I wanted to get an iron. My mother wanted an iron for Christmas, so I had to steal that too, right? So then I went and I stole the iron, but I got caught on the way out because that was it. So anyways, the guy goes, what do you got in there? And he was about maybe, I don't know, about 19, 20, so he could run faster. But anyways, so I swung and hit him with the bag because the iron was in it. And then I ran. And does anybody know Halifax, those really steep hills? Yes. Well, I'm running down there. It's like later November, cold, right? Cold. And I've got snoot boots on. Remember snoot boots? Yeah. They come up to really high. And then I had a fake sheepskin winter coat on. Well, I'm running down, and in my head, I'm going, oh my God, I got it. I'll just run really fast. You ever see the movies where the guy dumps into the water and he hides underneath the dock and then they can't find him? Yeah. Well, I actually did that, and I almost drowned. It was so freaking cold. I almost didn't make it to the dock. Anyways, there's my story. So, but yeah. What? Did your mom get the iron? No. But I did get charged, and now that was that. And so that was the end of my crime spree.
So we watched the movie too.
Huh?
I watched the movie too, so they knew where you were.
Anyways, so just letting you know what you're in for, Sarah. Don't tell the younger middle one that you need an iron. Okay?
Oh dear. Better run away now.
All right, so what do you have for lunch?
Salad with lots of different colors, seeds.
Do you also do things like avocado in it or beans or anything like that?
Yeah. Oh yes, avocado. And then protein source might be chickpeas or
what's your blood type?
like tofu. A positive.
Chickpeas are hard to digest for A positive. Okay, just know that. I'm not telling you not to have them. Just make sure that you chew them really well. You know, yeah.
Okay.
And A positive people have stomach problems and heart problems. Okay, and you really need to learn to blow things off, or you'll have stomach problems and heart problems. And if you have stomach problems, you're screwed, because if you have stress, then you don't make the hydrochloric acid properly, and then you don't digest your food properly. And we know that's already happening. We know that her food's rotting in her bowel, even though she's eating well, okay? Because the anxiety is in the stomach, right? Okay? And when the anxiety is in the stomach, then you don't digest your food. And then we know that because she's the everything to her children, she rushes when she eats. She doesn't chew her food well. It's impossible. Okay? Because
I rush a lot.
Because she'd have so much guilt because she actually took the time for herself. Really, yours is all emotional, and you've got a really bad program, okay, as a mother. And it's a bad program as a mother only because it's bad for yourself. And at the end of the day, your kids aren't going to like each other because of you, because you don't allow them time to work together as a unit, because you have to do everything. And the reality is they will not call each other when they grow up. Mm-hmm. They will not be a team when they grow up. So thank you for screwing the family up.
Yeah, I mostly try and let them play by themselves, but
I mostly try to let them play, but that's not what I said. They should be doing the laundry. They should be cleaning things, even if they don't do a great job. They will learn how to do a great job. They will feel good about themselves. They'll feel satisfied. I really helped, but she won't let them do anything.
Yeah.
That's your problem. Your teeth problem, your gum problem, your bum problem is you overdoing it, everything.
Okay.
No, it's not okay. It is absolutely not okay, because guess what? It would, if you really just were to hold the line and stop this, for one thing, the kids are all going to have tantrums now because they are not royalty. But now you're going to give them back their sovereignty. So now they're going to have tantrums for 6 weeks. 6 weeks. That's all you got to do is survive 6 weeks. And then we know that you also baby your husband too much. Guaranteed. So now he's going to have tantrums for maybe 3 months or 6 months. Okay? But the kids won't be no more than 6 weeks. And then they'll be loving their life.
Okay.
It's not okay. It's not okay, because you need to take this to heart. The only reason why we're on here right now is because of this. You can try to change everything else and do everything else, but it's not going to work. I've always wanted to be a great mother. Well, then if you want to be a great mother, pull back and be a great lover to yourself first and foremost before anyone else or anything else, so you can teach your kids to love themselves, not you filling up their heart all the time, so that they'll learn to love themselves, so they'll protect themselves and say no to drugs, no to alcohol, and no to pulling their pants off too fast.
This is really good advice.
Yeah, you wait till you get the bill.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Just understand something, and I'm going to say this, and this isn't going to go over well. I'm better than any psychologist, psychiatrist. I can take a person that has had 10 years, 20 years, and you know that, of therapy, and in 2 hours, we've turned them. She knows what she needs to do right now. Is she going to find her ovaries and do it? Or is she going to mess these kids up? This is how much that she has never learned how to love herself. She uses the kids. She sucks off the kids' love. Instead of filling up her own heart and shining the light on the kids. She's not a bad woman. She's an unbelievable woman. Listen, every woman has been ruled, schooled, and fooled like this. This is nothing new. There's nothing wrong with you, Sarah. You're exactly the way that you were supposed to be programmed. Okay? To lose your feminine power. To be sucked out. So that you will just obey and not even have any energy to play for yourself. That's it. You're so exhausted that you can't even do anything for yourself. It will be such a struggle, and you will feel like a bad mother when you start to be your own lover. And it will not be wrong. It will be right. And your kids will become little BraveHearts. Not, Mommy, Jimmy did this. It's not going to be good. Your kids are going to have so much trouble with their relationships because you have a trouble with one main relationship, and that's with yourself. You're not good enough, Sarah. You're not good enough. You're not smart enough. You're not pretty enough. Okay? And you can't do enough. And when you'll know when you've done enough when you're dead. And maybe then you'll be allowed to walk through the pearly gates, whatever that means. I don't know. And this is what I need to tell her. She's anal about everything. So guess what? I'd be surprised if she hasn't got internal hemorrhoids. Because she can't let go. She can't trust.
hits the nail on the head.
That's my job. Piss people off and then move on to the next. Right? And that's what happens. There'll be people watching this right now. Who does he think he is? What an arrogant prick. Because the whole world has turned into victimitis. That's the only virus. And as soon as someone wants to hold the line, tell the truth, and to have the courage to love that person enough to tell them the truth, you're a prick. And they did that to us. They did that to us. God, how do you think they got away with COVID? How do you think they're going to get away with what they're going to be doing here this November? Here they come. Are you ready? Are you going to love yourself enough to understand? I will not submit.
Anyways.
You need to, we don't want to talk about that. What you need to do is you need to sit down and with Thora and talk. And then decide what it is that you do, and you're going to stop today. And you're going to make a list of all the things that you do for your husband and your children that you don't have to do. And then you're going to pick one every week, a new one. And you're going to stick to that. And if you don't, remember, I already told you, there won't be a supplement. There won't be a food or a drink that's going to help you. You're going down the drink. That's it. Nothing's going to help you, Sarah. I'm telling you the truth. See how I played really nice for a while with the whole food combining thing and the thing? We already know she's totally anal. And she can't figure it out. But it's actually her personality about being so anal about the food and getting it all right that is going to make her sick and end up having an autoimmune disease. Because autoimmune disease means the body's attacking itself. But since Sarah's attacking herself because she's just not good enough. Not a good enough wife, not a good enough mother, not enough good enough lover.
And I do get the chance to do things for myself, but then I just get the mum guilt around it, so...
We already knew that, Sarah. But, you know, we will have a true confessions time for you. That'll be the biggest problem that she'll have, is just loving herself. She'll feel so guilty. She won't do it. And unless we pull her husband in on this, she's toast. How do you come up against the strongest belief that you have that you don't deserve to love yourself? How do you come up against that? Well, you need teamwork. But what if her husband likes being spoiled and he likes how she's always busy with the children so he can do his own thing? Hello? Is there anybody there? Oh, the wicked web we weave when we so deceive ourselves. And now she's created all these personalities in the house that now she's going to have to get her BraveHeart goddess out and hold the line. You know, all these entities will be screaming. Sarah?
Yes?
I think we're done here.
Okay, thanks so much, Daryl.
Because I'm not going to hold your hand like you do to your children.
No.
Just wait until they become 9, 10, 11. Sarah will totally irritate the crap out of her kids. And they can't wait until they can go out and find a new family. Love you, Sarah.
Got to make something happen now. Thank you very much, Daryl.
Have a beautiful day.
You too.
Bye, love.
See-
All right, so let's take 5 minutes, and thanks for joining us. And you have the best day of your life, too.